Hey, Wakusa, what's going on? It's your Ndugu Shaka Jajaga Shakur, aka I'm Casa the Bush Doctor, coming back at you with another segment of African Talk, where Africans talk worldwide. And as always, I want to give a shout out to the Creator and the ancestors, and I pray that your day is good and that they got my words in the right and not the wrong. So let's get at it, y'all. Here we go. All right, 1 2 1 2. All right. So, man, today's episode is about these diaspora wars. The infamous diaspora wars, which I personally feel is a high level CIA/slash government operation to isolate African Americans who have a particular skill set needed for the complete restoration of African liberty. So, what do I mean? Like right now, we see Africa rising up, right? Africa's rising up all over, starting with Burkina Faso with our brother Ibrahim Traore all the way across the continent, and that energy is bleeding around. We're all falling in line, and the African American, whether we acknowledge it or whether others acknowledge it, we happen to be at a position where we've become the trendsetters. And I'm not going to say necessarily because we're so special. A lot of it is because we are in America, right? And we all know the American propaganda machine is a beast, right? So we have the privilege of being here, and we also have the misfortunate, but fortunate ability to be at the hands of, I won't say the most diabolical European, but the most outright diabolical European. Put it that way, right? The most warmongering for sure. We're right here. So through slavery and everything, we've fought civil rights, whatever, and our struggle has become a beacon for other struggles. That's just the bottom line. I mean, it is what it is. And the African in America, we're the only ones who were completely severed. I mean, completely severed. And as a result of the severance from our roots, we ended up creating a byproduct that we call the African American experience or the Black experience. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with the Caribbean people having their experience or the UK having their experience or any other place in the world where Black people are having an experience as Black people in that diaspora and that part of the diaspora, right? So it's never been a problem. We've never had an argument between Black nationalism and Pan Africanism. That has never been a discussion. The only way it's become a discussion is because lately it's been, engineered to be this divisive discussion. You know what I mean? This is engineering. This is COINTELPRO 2.0. I know a lot of y'all think that COINTELPRO is something that is just in the movement or with people who are Black radicals or whatever. But no, the reality is COINTELPRO was designed to disrupt any sign of Black progress, any sign. And before COINTELPRO, even back in the days when Haiti had a successful revolution, you don't think the white people here did everything in their power to make sure that that energy didn't generate over to America? Hell yeah, they did. Hell yeah, they did. Hell yeah, they did. Right in Florida, when the Maroons in Florida in the Seminole Wars were fighting their asses off against these white people and winning. It's not a mistake that you don't know that history. They did everything in their power to smash that story, and they're doing it now. But the thing is, now they've had hundreds of years since then to ingrain a deeper sense of self-hate. Let's say that one more time for the people in the back so they can hear. Self-hate in us. And they've had a 200-300 year run where they could perfect the misinformation that they feed us and the lack of education, right? 100 plus, it was been like 100 years since slavery ended, 100 plus. So in that time, they've had the ability to perfect the misinformation machine. And we're seeing the results of it now. And then you top that off with our trauma, right? Perfect recipe. I was watching a TV show, and I don't like to cite TV shows, but it makes sense. Snowfall, right? Let me watch. I don't usually watch shows like that, like Power and all that. I'm not really into that. But for some reason, I wanted to watch Snowfall because growing up on the East Coast, I know what drugs, crack in particular, did to the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast, but I wanted to see how it affected the West Coast. What was this story of our brothers and sisters on the West Coast? Anyway, if you don't know the story, spoiler alert coming. You have this white man, Teddy, who is a CIA agent who uses drugs to fund a war, an illegal war in South America. The Contra scandal, which you can go look up yourself. True story. But anyway, in the story, this white dude gets kicked off the CIA and he still keeps going, right? So he gets this Black boy, Franklin, who's pretty smart in the hood, and plugs him on. So the kid starts getting money, right? And then the kid puts his family on, boom, it grows. So at some point, this white man, Teddy, decides he's going to take everybody's money and put it into this war for patriotism in South America. But what he does with that, he doesn't tell what he's doing. So each group, Franklin's uncle, who's his family, and Franklin, they were together. They split up now. Now the money is disappearing, boom, overnight. So Franklin thinks that his family took the money, and his family thinks that he took the money, and they're going to war. I mean, they shooting, killing, and all this for mad episodes. But the moral of the story is Teddy was behind the whole thing. And the same guy, Teddy, the CIA agent, the white man, killed Franklin's father, who was a Panther, Black Panther, who was exposing the whole thing. He assassinated, he just destroyed his whole family in a nutshell. But he was behind it. And I'm like, yo, art imitates life, life imitates art. You don't think that's the same thing going on right now? That's the same situation that we're seeing right now? Hell yeah. I don't care whose name is behind what, right? I'm not going to sit here and call out names. I'm not here for that because the people you calling out saying they ain't got nothing to do with it. So anyway, I'm going to put the blame where it belongs. It belongs in the hands of this government. It belongs in the hands of the European white racist structure that has once again found a way to turn us here against one another. So through our trauma and misinformation, we have groups now that are fighting each other. You got a group of our black, quote, African people, however you want to call it, that think they have nothing to do with being black. They call themselves black indigenous. So their whole roots started here. They was a movement saying that we were nowhere but in America. Great. All right. So that's that. Then you got the foundational black American. That's another group of black people who are saying they don't have anything to do with connecting with Africa or tetherers, as they call them, and they're delineating themselves away from the greater diaspora, which is madness. And in the result, on the flip side, you have agents in Africa who are stirring it up from that side, telling them, yo, we ain't got beef with each other in Africa. Our beef is with the Africans in America. So now they are turning their energy into not fighting against the current Asian / European neo or new colonialism in Africa that's threatening their independence. No, they're taking that energy and saying, yo, we need to get out the African Americans. So you got this beef going on between all of them. And the Caribbean and the UK, they kind of come in and out of it. And it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And it's so fucking, pardon my language, it's so obvious. I don't want to curse on this channel. It's so obvious that this is all being done to halt the unification of African / black. One more time, please. To halt the unification of African / black people. You have a wave, and it's a misinformation wave that is disrespecting every black freedom fighter that exists. I mean, you got young people, young, 20-something years old, calling Martin Luther King a sellout, going way back and still carrying on that argument between W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T and Garvey and all this other stuff. Then you have black people, young black people who can't be that informed because you ain't even been around that long. You can't be that informed. Oh, Pan-Africanism is dead. We ain't with that Pan-African shit. It's all about here. Pardon my language again. That's what they said. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not with Pan-Africanism? Or the Pan-African movement is dead. Yet you connect with your cousin down south. Idiot, that's Pan-Africanism. Idiot, that's Pan-Africanism. You live in Detroit, but you identify with your cousin in Houston, Texas, who identifies with the two of you's cousin in New York City, and the three of you identify with your fourth cousin in Atlanta. That's Pan-Africanism. It's not global, it's national, but it's Pan-Africanism. You're in New York in the Bronx, and you can relate to the struggle of your cousin in Brooklyn. That's regional, local, Pan-Africanism. You get it? That's what that is. Pan-Africanism is when you understand your connection to other people that look like you of an African heritage. Period. I'll never be the one to say that I'm from Africa like direct. No, obviously I'm not. I was born here. Hello. But I understand my lineage. And I'm not going to say that we don't have a connected lineage with the indigenous people of this land, the First Nations of this land. Of course we do. There was a terrible moment for us when they had us as slaves, and then there was a terrible moment for us when black people got revenge. Correction. A terrible moment for them when we got revenge. Correction. Coming out of China, the quiet oppressor coming out of Russia, coming out of India. I mean, it just is what it is. And they got played. Both sides got played against each other. It is what it is. But we are here now. So who wins at the end of the day with all this frivolous fighting? We don't win, that's for sure. Who wins is the as Malcolm said, and that'll be my next episode, like the dangers of the liberalism, but of a liberal, white liberal. That's who wins. Who wins is the quiet oppressor. And I say not to all Chinese people, not all Russian people, not all Indian people, but the leaderships I definitely hold accountable. You know why? Because I know that the only way they can be on that stage is to agree in some way with white nationalism. Chinese people are in Africa right now and in Jamaica telling the local people, black people, that they can't come and shop here, they can't eat here, they can't right now. It's Jim Crow over in Africa. And that's true story. There's Jim Crow in Africa. And here in America, unfortunately, a lot of our, Indian brothers who come over here and sisters, they take on a racist attitude towards blacks. You know what I mean? It's true. You still have a lot of, the caste system in their mentality, not their fault, but they suffer from it just like we do. And once we start to see that, we could probably move around it. But we can't keep feeding into this constant fighting back and forth. It's foolishness. It's counterproductive, counter-revolutionary, and downright treasonous. You got a man like Donald Trump in office right now. I mean, just going crazy with his racism. He just don't care. Saying he gonna take over the government, showing you that he can do it, and then saying I don't care about no 2 term. I'm getting a 3rd term, and just running through us like water, man. You got white Gestapo nationalists dropping out of helicopters, raiding buildings. I'm not gonna be on the wares of this one. Why you ain't there? I don't really care about that. I used to be like that. I used to call out organizations because I felt like they talk so much. Where you gonna be at? Because I know where I was at. But I'm not gonna be on it like that right now. What I want you to do is focus on the real problem. I want you to focus on what's really going on and stop being sidetracked. I go online and I'm gonna be real with you. The people that I see engaged in these foolish arguments, I know have some level of education and are really intelligent people because they break down foolishness very intelligently. It'd be straight bull, but they break it down eloquently. So imagine if they placed their energy on uniting us instead of dividing us. Could you imagine that? If they placed their energy there instead of there. The only person that wins with the division of black people is white people. White power, white nationalists win. And I got news for you. I was doing some study, and it's just theory. It's a theory now. And then, based on some other people I watched and backed up what they said, and I kind of agree. What we are seeing is a transfer and a unification of white supremacy. While we fight the diaspora connection between black people, white nationalism has utilized the diaspora approach or pan white supremacist approach to work for them. What do you mean, Shaka? You know those 50 white people from South Africa, those Afrikaners who were brought here? They're not the only ones over here. There have been reports of groups of white men with backpacks speaking Afrikaner coming over here. You know, Argentina, President Trump helping Argentina. Now, this is a theory. I'm throwing it out there. You do your own research, but all the dots are adding up to me. Argentina is a stronghold for ex-German soldiers. What you know the word. I'm trying not to give them any reason to stop this. I hate to have to censor myself, but you know what? Nazis, okay? Not because it's history. Nazi. It's for learning purposes only. Nazi, German Nazis. After the Nazi Reich fell, Argentina became the getaway for them. A lot of them went there. Just like, to my understanding, there are a lot of Confederates during the fall of the Confederacy who went over into South America. I think Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken, and Argentina. Argentina is a stronghold for white supremacy. You know what I mean? And it's no mistake that Trump takes all of 40 million and sends it over there to them to help build their strong base. It's like such basic war moves going on here. And we're distracted arguing about, yo, man, I come from the Cherokee. Nah, man, I ain't from Africa. Nah, man, I was always here. Or no, we were there. And da, da, da. You distracted with that, and they making these power moves. ICE is nothing more than a private army using the guise of legal law enforcement to recruit. Who do you think is in the rank of ICE? This is where all of those, because South Africa has no need for the Afrikaner soldier. No. So a lot of them became mercenaries, and the rest of them are now, I guarantee you, being shipped in and bled in right into ICE. That's why they're hiding their faces. I guarantee you, I might be dead and gone, but I guarantee you behind this Argentina thing, there's more to it. That's why Trump is so emboldened, because not only does he have an army here that will do, don't get it twisted, they will do what he asks them to do, what he says. And then right now, there's no money flowing in the government, but some mysterious donor donated $130 million to the United States Armed Forces to pay the soldier. You think somebody's going to donate $130 million to anything and not expect something in return? Man, miss me with that one. And this goes for the Democrat and the Republican Party. The Democrats can cry all they want. There's no outrage. He's not out of the office. You know, and they say, well, impeachment is a process. But you're not even making the argument. This is the weakest stuff I've ever seen in my life. And we're being played by the fox and the wolf. And we don't see it because we're too busy arguing amongst ourselves. Yo, if you don't understand the need for black people globally to unite, despite whatever, I mean, I'm not really into religion myself, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any of the black religions, any of them. But I'm telling you this, man, if y'all gonna be here, inspire people to be better people. Yeah, I get with that. Stop trying to dominate. We're not following none of y'all. All black people are not gonna be Muslim. All black people are not gonna be Hebrew Israelites. All black people are not gonna be Christian based. All black people, a lot of black people don't want nothing to do with none of that. But the ones you got in your ranks, yes, train them, show them to be better people. And then come out in the community and help, not come out in the community and exploit our pain to gain more members. Because that's all I see. All I see is religious organizations jumping out in the street in front of the wave, acting as if you're going to shield us from the wave so that we will have faith in you. And then some of us will join you. The wave hits us, crushes everybody else, but you got a couple of more members. Let's stop that, man. And let's stop supporting this diaspora war. All right? Yo, that's all I got. I don't want to ramble on. But I love you. You know what I mean? Wukusu, wake up, clean up, stand up. Wake up to the greatness of who we are. Clean up all that keeps us from that greatness. And most importantly, stand up. And do not allow anyone or anything to ever cause us to fall again as a people. Not even ourselves. One. Hey, Wukusu, what's going on, family? You know who it is. You're Ndugu, Shaka Jajaga Shakur. If you like anything you saw in this video, any information on this video, do me a favor, man. Hit that button. Hit that notification, subscribe, hit the like button. All the bells and whistles it takes to keep this channel going. Because this, to me, is a mission that is greater than any money or anything like that. It's about keeping you informed with the information I receive, and in turn, you keeping me informed about what's going on the ground. You feel me? So you help me, I help you, we help each other. And that's how we're going to do this. So African talk for Africans worldwide. All right? Love y'all, man. Stay safe, stay good, bless. Oh, and before I forget, you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. I'm there, the Bush Doctor. So check me out. I'm new to this. I'm putting things at the end and all that. We'll get it figured out. Work with me. Love you.